A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our fourth series of USM.CREATE here on our Facebook page. My name is Jit, and I'm so honored to be hosting today's event. And we are very special guest, and we have a very special guest today to talk about this interesting topic about career talk. All right, especially for all the students and graduate students who are seeking for jobs and planning for their future career. Before we move on to our main agenda, let me introduce you what is actually USM Create. All right, USM Create is an acronym for Creative Regeneration Environment for Talented Artists and Entrepreneurs. Create USM is a space to foster the artistic talent, design exploration, and technological scene for artists, entrepreneurs, community, and industry within Penang and Southeast Asia. USM Create is a special avenue to help to showcase your work by supporting your talents and hone your creative ability, which we are hoping that emergence of the new platform will cultivate the new culture and the spirits of networking and partnership between USM communities and the industry, and also the involvement of the local communities. USM Create is located in the heart of Georgetown at Lebu, China, inside the Think City building. Let's take a look at this video to give you a clear picture of the space. Without any further ado, I would like to invite our moderator today.
I think it doesn't realize. Yeah.
Most probably. In fact, the team members say here in our WhatsApp group, they're contacting him.
Okay.
And telling them that we still can't hear him.
Right.
Sir.
Yes, now we can hear
Yeah,
you.
okay. Yes, Jake.
Sir can proceed.
Okay.
Okay. We didn't hear you, Jade, earlier.
Oh, because I muted. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay. All right. Then we proceed with the second that you said just now, but I believe that it'll be like a very impressive introduction. All right. So I would now start our session. So I'm Shahrel. So I'll be handling this as the moderator, and I'm taking this opportunity to welcome our special guest today, Mr. Parimalam, from Celestica. He is currently the director, I think, a director of engineering, and we will be discussing about how to set our mindset for our graduates for the future career. And I believe that I do not know how many people now joined this session, but I believe that this is a very good opportunity opportunity for students, especially those who are graduating this from this semester, to take this opportunity to know more and make sure that you are prepared. Somewhere around the corner, I have students going into industry even in this August. All right, so without further ado, I would like to introduce us to Mr. Parimalam. All right, so maybe we are lucky here to have you here, sir. I hope that everyone joining this session will be beneficial from this session. We will learn a lot from you. And thank you very much for accepting our invitation to be our special guest today.
Right. Thank you, Prof. Shahrel. And first and foremost, thank you very much for having me here. And I'm looking forward for all the queries that which are going to come with regards to preparing our fresh graduates for their, career future.
All right, thank you very much. So to begin the session, I would like to invite you maybe to give a little bit brief in industry. So you must be having like a lot of experiences in the industry, and maybe you can also introduce to us what is Celestica is doing now and the job scope of your job scope at the industry currently. Can you share with us?
Right.
Yes, please.
Yeah, let me start with Celestica Incorporated. Celestica is a EMS company. EMS means Electronic Manufacturing Services, which specializes in various sectors, primarily on aerospace, smart energy, cloud computing, medical, capital equipment assembly. Those are the main ones, and there are a couple more others, which is probably smaller ones that we are actually working on, like autonomous uh, cars, automobile, and as well as space industry as well. Now, depending on the streams, uh, so uh, you know, we pay focus depending on the sectors that we actually what is really the real need out there. And as of now, my responsibility here, I'm a head of engineering for Celestica Malaysia. We have two Celestica sites in Malaysia. One is in Kulim High Tech Park, and another one is down south in Johor. We do slightly different things. The one in Kulim that we are specialized on primarily on aerospace, and the one that in down south in Johor is specializes on medical and as well as capital equipment assembly.
Okay, all right. So it means that the production should be, I believe that Celestica is supplying all those products at the world market to the world market, and the criteria that will be you're looking at for these two factories of in the northern and in the southern Malaysia are from different streams. For instance, let's say for art streams, from science, from engineering. What do you think about all this? Because of I believe that being in an industry, regardless whatever streams that they are coming from, they are basically contributing to the industry.
I mean, that's right. Depending on the streams, we don't, although we have a different segment, although this Celestica is a technology company, we very much focus on technical and engineering aspect, but we do have other disciplines as well, such as the one that for from other stream, depending on um, we have program management, we have supply chain, we have planning. There are various other aspects. So it's not that we just uh, focus on hiring fresh graduate from engineering or technical stream. We also look at other streams as well.
Okay, all right. So it means that it's not only like the focus will be on technical. So whatever streams that the graduates have, or maybe the background of the graduates, they basically how do I say, eligible to apply jobs at Celestica.
That's right. It's all depending on their degree and qualification. We and the area of opening, we hire them, and we actually the first 1 year we would be able to assess what is their best fit, so to speak, or what would be their skill, and depending on all these, we will fit them accordingly to which area they fit the most. However, I must say that most of the time, the technical students will stay in the technical line, and the non-technical student will be always with the non-technical disciplines such as planning, program management, and stuff like that.
Okay, right. From engineering, let's say for students coming from engineering side, especially like from my side, electronics or maybe mechanical engineering. So can they explore different fields which are not really related to this kind of engineering? For instance, let's say for mechanical students, maybe they can involve in design section, which has maybe some related to a mechanical engineering.
Well, design, we still regard design as part of engineering, actually. So we also have this section called design, or we call it a design for manufacturing, mechanical design. We also have this process optimization. All this still comes under the engineering ladder.
Okay, okay.
Right.
That means that we, let's say, mechanical or electronics, or be it from I have friends actually from maybe chemical or maybe mineral resources. If we talk about USM, then when joining the industry, they can be in different departments according to their expertise, I can say.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
So, and we are actually pretty open, but typically what we had seen in the context of fresh graduates, when they apply into a job, they pretty much want to stay with the technical line. They don't immediately move to non-technical. However, we have cases whereby, somebody with a technical degree started off as an engineer, and after that build a career up to like probably staff engineer or senior staff engineer, and eventually they find interest with other areas like business, program management. So what they do switch to other non-technical aspect as well. So it's all the advantage of being in a holding a technical degree is you can stay, you can start off with technical, and you can eventually move to non-technical. And it does happen. And I would say even in the leadership level at my company, at the corporate level, all the person, all our, we call it the C level, or the CEO, the CEO, COO, except for the finance, um, chief financial officer, he's the only one without a technical degree. Other than that, they are all started off as technical, and eventually they move into operations, and eventually into the business. So it's quite a vast um, um, playground if you have a technical degree. But of course, a non-technical degree person will not be able to do a technical job. It's not
Okay.
vice versa. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yes, 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 definitely. Because of being a technical guy, so now you have, when they arrive at certain position or certain experience, then something else maybe like more interesting to them, they can shift. So this is good for I mean, maybe good news for all technical students. This is your opportunity. You still have options if you want to go into like say what Mr. Pari had mentioned, into project management or some other which is not on technical side.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now, I believe that nowadays, when we talk about a future career, we are now in the era of IR 4.0. which I believe that maybe students need to be prepared with IR 4.0. What do you think about this? Because of, is it compulsory for our graduates to have this IR 4.0 knowledge or skills before joining the industry?
Let me answer your first section. Is it a must for the graduate to have knowledge in Industry 4.0? Is that your first segment of the question, right?
Is it a compulsory, or is it better for students to have this knowledge?
That's right. So the answer is not necessarily. Okay. The reason being is Industrial 4.0 is just an additional segment. We park Industrial 4.0 under automation. Okay, so automation is just another segment under the technical ladder. And there are many other aspects of manufacturing. We have, as I mentioned, some of the one earlier, we have process engineering, we have equipment, test, industrial, quality. We have various aspects of engineering and non-engineering streams or disciplines. So to answer your question, is IR 4.0 is a must? No. They can start off with something else, then eventually they can actually move into or pay if they have interest into um, automation, then they can get into learning more about IR 4.0.
Okay, so that would be, I mean, great inputs for our graduates to prepare themselves going towards IR 4.0, because of recently a lot of information that I receive at my position in school. So this will be only advantage to the students, not compulsory, if I can confirm with you.
Absolutely. It's an added advantage if you know something related to IR 4.0. Since you brought up the question, that people coming to you talking about IR 4.0. Now I have a little bit of reservation here with regards to our graduates' knowledge on IR 4.0. Now, sad to say, at this point, I'm yet to see our fresh graduates coming out of the university. They are not fully equipped they don't speak the machine language that is being used in IR 4.0. They are, somewhat they're still with, older machine programming language or software. They are not equipped with the latest and the greatest technology or the one that powers the IR 4.0. So, um, you know, as in my factory, when we implement automation, we often have to leverage the expertise from our China plant, in fact, to implement automation in our factory. For instance, we have to build the entire automation robots and integrate that with all the other aspect of automation, and then to actually ship the entire unit over here for us to use it as the end user rather than us building that in the entire 4.0. In fact, matter of fact, the demographic out there, the suppliers out there, or the vendors out there today, we are, they don't support, they are not equipped with enough knowledge for us to integrate and build that automation system that is required in our factory. Sad to say, that's one area that we have a huge vacuum. In fact, I brought this up in some of my discussions with at MITI's meeting in couple of years back when I attended that IR 4.0 symposium that was organized by MITI. So this is a huge vacuum that we seriously need to look into.
Yep. I think, yes, it is because of at the university side, we are now moving towards IR 4.0, which means that our students will be taught with all these items related to IR 4.0. And in fact, at School of EE, we are now moving to new syllabus to support engineering at USM nowadays have already designed a new curriculum, and with the hope that we can start executing this new syllabus just to support our Malaysians' needs in terms of this Industry 4.0. And we are looking at if we can implement that starting from this coming semester or next year, then within 3 years or 4 years from now, they're going to have engineers who are really, I mean, many engineers who are really focused on this technology.
Professor Shahrel, thank you very much for that information. That is, really good to hear that actually our universities are start beginning to tailor their courses to prepare the students for the Industrial 4.0. In fact, if you ask me, I hope that we are not too late because people are already talking about Industrial 5.0 now, right? So you're probably aware of that.
Yes. Overseas, yeah. We have to prepare. And for students who have already graduated from their final year, they have been equipped with maybe a little bit on that knowledge. For instance, let's say AI and then machine learning. And it is something like the courses are given outside of the syllabus just to make sure that they are prepared for that. And coming to what Mr. Pari had mentioned just now, for those who have graduated, you have to, even though you don't have that background with Industry 4.0, but you need to know that because that is advantage to you in the current era of our industry. Okay.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. So I think we will move to my next question. So what do you think that is needed for our graduates to land a job in the industry besides that knowledge in IR 4.0? So they should have like, because of only like technical students, we're focusing on IR 4.0, maybe a little bit for those students who are non-technical students, they might have the factors that will be important for students or becomes needs for the students to land a job in the industry.
Right. How do I put this? So let me put it this way, Professor Shahrel. We when we interview a fresh graduate, we know this candidate does not have any working experience, so we will not test them on their knowledge and how well do they know the job or from that aspect. What we do look for a fresh graduate is probably there are several items that I can talk about. Number one being we will look at communication skill. So that's the first thing. In fact, when I interview somebody, that's the first thing I do. I will deliberately look at the resumes and I'll tell the person, I'm going to read through your resume, but you go ahead and speak and give me your background. For me, it's not that I actually had seen the resume, but I just want the person to speak so that I want to know how well the person speak and converse or interact. So that's the first thing, communication skill. Okay. Second one, we will look for we want to see the energy level. We want to see the dynamic. We want to see the passion. We want to see whether this person has the dynamic or the so-called the stamina to fit into factory life. Factory life, I always tell people, factory life is a little bit different than what you do outside there in a different sectors. Factory life is all about stamina because every day you come to work, there will be problems. Now, whether you have the level of that same stamina every day to go and deal with the problems, continue to fix the problem so that we will start moving towards the perfection of manufacturing. Okay, so second one was energy level, dynamics, or the passion that we have that we look for. The third one is we also sometimes want to see problem solving abilities. Problem solving abilities means we need somebody. You'll be tested on some kind of like quick thinking abilities. Why do we need quick thinking? Because you have to understand that our production environment is very dynamic environment, and there are uh, four factors that governs production environment. We call it a 4M. 4M means man, machine, method, material. And these four elements in manufacturing, vital elements in manufacturing, they are very fluid. When I say they are very fluid, that means they change. They change almost every day, because when you from one day to another day or one shift to another shift, the operator change, the material that we consume change, the machine condition will change, the the uh, um, the okay the one thing that will remain constant will be the method. However, it depends on the person doing it correctly or not, although it is already predefined. Now in this ever changing environment, um, any small problems that comes up, we need to see how our engineers or the technical person can, we need to solve this problem on the fly, so to speak, because every time a production line goes down, it is we lose, it's a loss of revenue, and the loss of revenue sometimes goes up as high as US 100,000 per hour. So if your equipment is down for one day, that means we lose about 24, we will lose about 240,000 um, US dollars in a day in terms of revenue. So it is that important. Okay. So that was the third criteria that we look for: problem solving abilities. The fourth one will be, we also want to see whether the person that we're going to hire has a potential growth, because the person that we are going to hire, we based, especially with fresh graduates, they are, they don't have experience. The first 1 2 years is all about us training them up, means we are investing on them, training them up to be full-fledged engineers. um, and what we test on is whether they have the potential to grow with us. So that's the fourth one: growth. And the fifth one will be whether the person has a long-term career with us, because we also want to check, in our interview, we have set of questions that we ask. Depending on the answers, we would know whether what interests the person, whether it is they are driven by money, or they are driven by career advancement, or whether they are driven by work quality life, that kind of thing. So depending on what is because what we are looking for is a long-term career with us, because as I mentioned to you, the first 2 years of hiring a fresh graduate is all about investing on them, and it will be a sad thing if we lose them after 2 years, because we have to start over all over again. Okay, so those are the
Okay.
5 things that I just mentioned, so vital things.
Okay. All right. So they'll be really fruitful for all our graduates to prepare themselves, because of if for preparing themselves to go into industry, then they should have these 5 elements with them. And because of this, I believe that industries practice to look at these 5 elements within the candidates going to the industry. So now, talking about the communication skills, right? Now, is it important for the candidate to reveal whatever they have in their resume? All right. So it means that they're going to be, if one get throughout the four years. All right.
Sorry, I lost you at the last point there.
Okay. All right. So I repeat my question. Uh, Now, is it really important for the candidate to put everything in the resume? I mean, in short, whether one page of very impactful resume is enough, rather than you have very lengthy, but no, it means the candidate did not highlight where they are good at. So, what is your opinion about this?
Well, resume, please don't slap us with 10 pages of resumes, because the person who's going to interview you, the person often has very little time to spend with you. Okay, so if you're going to give the person 5 6 pages, um, if the first one page does not tell the entire story and does not entice the interviewer to prompt you for this in the interview, that means you have a disadvantage over there. So to answer your question, whether do you put everything about the person in that resume? Let me put it this way. Probably for a fresh graduate, uh, 2 page, two, maximum three. The first page got to be probably infographics with a little bit of overview about the person, and then the subsequent page can talk a little bit about, if you're a technical student, you can probably talk about final year project, because we always probe the person on their final year project, because we want to know whether the person knows the project that they completed um, to the level of detail that is expected. And if you can list down the co-curriculum activities and skills, that will be good, because the co-curriculum activities will normally give us the impression whether you have experience or knowledge on leading a project or leading a team, working in a group. That means teamwork. And whether um, do you have element of um, timeliness um, in what you're going to do. That means the project that you started off, it has a time limit, and you know how to manage your project in such that you complete the project within the budget and also the time that is stipulated.
Okay. All right. So that'll be a very, very important guidance to our new fresh graduates, because of I believe that when you have that infographic going to the 5 elements that you mentioned just now, which is when you are looking at the potential growth and the passion. So I believe that that should be included in the first page because of that. Right? Can you help us in this regard?
That's right.
Yeah, because of you should put students should put their passion as well as the passion, especially because of it will, I think it will relate back to the potential growth, what they want to do in the future, being that as their career.
That's right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much. And it's very, very helpful. For those who did not join us today, it would be regret not to know this. That is really been very attractive even for me because of I can share with my students as well in my class. Right, let us go into another topics because of when we mentioned about going into in the industry, I believe that graduates are also a bit worried, including me when I graduated last time. I joined industry where can we work according to the whatever instructions coming from the factory or from the industry. So uh, do you provide at Celestica maybe like 2 or 3 months, then only start doing things?
I'm so sorry. I lost your last part
Okay,
actually.
okay. Maybe this is my internet problem.
Uh,
All right. My question is because of when fresh graduates joining the industry, let's say joining Celestica, a lot of industries having different policies in grooming the fresh graduates. Some will take in fresh graduates and they will put all these fresh graduates in maybe training, purely training to train on some technicals, and then only after 2 or 3 months and they'll be coming out and then they'll start doing whatever they need to do. And some maybe like in my case last time when I joined this Japanese company Sony in Bali, so I was put on job training, so I have to 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 work at the same time I was trained, so I have to stay at night, Japanese style. So but in this case what do you think, and what do a Celestica offers for fresh?
right. Let me put it this way. We pretty much decide. We will decide upfront who we're going to hire and what is the job that the person is going to do, because we don't have like a like introductory courses or job scope. Then we come in and then they will, get fitted somewhere else. I don't know where you're coming from. There are some company OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, typically will do that. Some of them maybe, but in EMS, electronic manufacturing services, we do still a little bit differently. We will identify upfront what are the person or the type of engineering that is required when we hire the person. However, the person has to go through a probation period. The probation period typically is about 3 months. Okay. Now within that 3 months, we will know whether the person is coping well or whether the person is not doing that well. If the person is not doing well, we will have that chat with them. We put them under a program called PIP, Performance Improvement Plan. We put them into that program, and then we will monitor them, their progress on a weekly basis, and then we will give them another 3 months and see how are they progressing. Are they improving? Yes, if they're improving, then what we do is after the other 3 months, we will eventually absorb them to become a permanent staff, or the or we will look at if the person's skill set does not match what is being required. Then what we will do is we will make a recommendation to HR to take the person in other areas to be absorbed in other areas, depending if there is a vacancy or opening in other areas. However, if the person is completely not suitable after the 6 months period, we will typically tell them that it is not working out, and therefore you probably want to try something else somewhere else. We are very upfront. We don't keep a person who's not motivated or who is not keen to stay on, because it's bad for the organization. At the same time, it would be bad for them as well.
Right.
What
Okay.
Jack Welch said, right? Jack Welch, for everybody's knowledge, he was the CEO for General Electric for 22 years, and I remember him quoting this, that keeping a manager keeping a low performer is a bigger crime than keeping the person staying on the job itself. So the responsibility lies on the manager to identify the person's weaknesses and point to the person where appropriately, he or she should focus on.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that information. So for fresh graduates, you don't have to worry about your training because of whatever being taught or whatever that you have learned in the university are the fundamentals knowledge. When you join the industry, it'll be very, very applied knowledge and sometimes very different from what you have learned in the university. So there will be like what Mr. Pari mentioned. So most of you will be going through probation period 3 months if Celestica. And then if you're not performing well, they will again train you and try to educate or bring you to reach some at one level so that you can perform in whatever task being given to you. So don't be confident if you get a job in the industry, but please, as what Mr. Pari mentioned, you must have the passion and you must work very hard according to what your super. I have one question coming from our audience. So the question says a quick question about 4.0, which is the Industrial 4.0. What is the difference between Industry 4.0 and lean manufacturing?
That's a good question. I like this kind of question because the person had done a job, what do you call that, homework,
Homework.
right? Right, which is good. So let's talk about industry, industry 4.0. Now, industry 4.0 is all about how do we automate, right? So let me give you a perspective. IR1. It's that, many people talk about IR4, but they don't understand what is IR1, 2, 3. So just to give a bigger picture, IR1 is when first human, it's a revolution. So human used to work by themselves with their four hands. Their four limbs, right? Two hands, two legs, and eventually they started using this equipment, or they started using engines to help them with their work. So that is, they started off with steam engine. So that is IR1. IR1 means beginning to use simple engines to do their tasks, human tasks, right? That's IR1. Now, IR2 is about, it started off probably in 1930.
Sorry, Mr. Pari. We lost you for a while. So we have to wait for him to come back. Are you okay with the line? Oh, yeah, still waiting for you. Sorry, Mr. Pari. We still cannot hear you, and we can't even see the video of yours.
Really? Okay, I'm not sure exactly where it's popular. Wait for a while.
Still, there is nothing. We're still okay. I can see your video.
Is it okay now?
Yes, yes. Now it's okay. Yes.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay. All right. Let me just switch
You-
to a different network. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So where did I stop?
You were talking about IR 2.0.
2.0. Okay. So
yes, we had the problem. Yeah.
Okay. So IR 2.0 is about setting up, doing mass production with assembly lines, okay, and repeated movements. And IR 3.0 is all about, same thing, mass production in an assembly line, but beginning to use PLC, programmable logic controllers. It's some kind of, it's a computer language, but it's a very basic computer language, and that is on using PLC controllers. Okay, it's very binary, 0 or 1. Now that is IR 3.0. Now IR 4.0 is about machine learning. Now the machine that is now doing the job, as it's doing the job, it's collecting data, it's analyzing data, and it is now correcting itself. Okay, so that's IR 4.0. Now let me just talk a little bit about 5.0, which is going to be very interesting because I attend every 2 years. I attend to Productronica back down in Munich, Germany. Now that's where they showcase all the latest and the greatest technology on Industrial 4.0, 5.0. Now I had seen a glimpse of what the IR 5.0 is looking like. Now IR 5.0 is about one machine talking to another machine downstream and telling the machine that, hey, you had done something not so accurate. but it's still within the specification of the limits. Now you please correct this. So IR 5.0 is all about having all the data mining, um, uh, gathering all the big data, analyzes it, and eventually, making a conclusion or making a derivation, and then started telling the other machines or other equipment in the front end of to make corrections. So did I explain that well? Basically,
I believe that it will be very
okay,
interesting. Okay.
okay. So that is
Right.
IR 4.0,
4.0.
5.0. Right. Now let's come to lean manufacturing. Lean manufacturing is a very simple concept. It started off with Toyota production system. Now, if you want to know about Toyota production system, you probably want to read this book. This book, it's called The Machine That Changed the World. How the mistake proving concept that it was taken from, making looms by the founder of Toyota itself, how we took that concept of mistake proving and started implementing that into an automotive assembly line. Now, it's very interesting. Lean, you see, I visited Toyota factory in Japan, Nagoya, Japan, and when you go and talk to them about lean, they will say, what is lean? Because they live on lean manufacturing. We call it lean, but they call that, hey, this is my daily life. It's became a norm for them. So it's very interesting. So lean it's a simple thing. Lean is all about, mistake proving, number one. Number two, they call it Hejunka. Hejunka means, pool system. How what the downstream will pull the materials from the front end system, Hejunka. And the third one is standard width. How do you make sure that your production floor, you only build what is needed? Okay, so these are the main three things, and it talks about waste. And there are 8 type of waste in operations. So I can go on with this, but it's going to take a long time. But you guys can just Google and find out, what are the type of waste that is in the production system. There are 8 types that what we should do and what we shouldn't do. So in principle, IR is about automation. Lean is about what is the best known method. They call it BKM, best known method to do production in the most simplest way. And it's all should be visual. If everything, when you walk in the production floor, I worked with the master of Shinjitsu master for lean, and he always says, please don't talk to me because I want the production floor to talk to me. Because the way we have arranged in the production floor, the way we have done things, it should talk to us. It should be very visual. If something is bad, it should be visual. It shouldn't be hidden. That's what lean manufacturing is all about. I hope that I simplified um, that question.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. New knowledge even for me, right? It's very, very impressive to know this, because of I hope the audience who asked this question, and in fact others, now take note about the differences between Industry 4.0 and lean manufacturing. Even though they involve in manufacturing, but they are different in their own area. Okay, all right. I have another questions coming from the audience. Okay, so the question says, entering our career life, or maybe tips on how to excel our working life, especially during this pandemic era. Thank you.
Can you repeat that? I lost on the first part this time.
Okay, I repeat it. Is there any special requirements that we need to have before entering our career life? Or maybe tips on how to excel our working life, especially during this pandemic era. Sorry. So that will be the question.
Well, I'm not sure if it's going to be something different. The requirements are pretty much the same. I always tell my, during this pandemic era, we work differently. Especially in Malaysia, the factory operates at a so-called the 60% capacity. Yes, we work differently here. As many as possible, those who don't have to be in the factory, they are working from home. But I always tell my people, because I manage engineering and I'm responsible for engineering, and therefore I always tell them you can't fix things if you're at home, so you have to be in the factory. So I go to the factory, and same thing. All the engineers, as much as possible, we encourage them to be in the factory to do the job, when somewhat we will manage within that 60% capacity, so to speak, like under the PPN, right? As of now.
Yes.
Now we hope that very soon we will move to that next stage where we probably will go to the 80% capacity. So other than that, is there any special requirements? Not really. When we identify you to be that to hire or to be hired, we will bring you in. We will do all that COVID tests and make sure that you are free from any infection before we bring you into the factory. So we have a very strict protocol of SOP. Our SOP, in fact, a little bit more stringent than what is being set by the KKM, because we want to make sure that we don't create a workplace cluster, so to speak.
All right. Okay. I have another question. Thank you for the answer to that question. Now, there's another question. How does industrial attachment help in securing a job for the future?
That's a good point, and it is definitely an added advantage, because when you come for the interview and say that, hey, I have mechanical engineering degree and I did my internship with Proton, then we will say, hey, okay, so you know what is manufacturing is all about. So you have a head start, and we can actually test you, or we can actually talk to you about what did you do during your internship. So it is very vital, very imperative for each and every uh, graduate to be a graduate or a potential candidate to have done their internship.
Okay. So it means that it will be their advantages that if you do industrial attachment or the internship with that industry, and then you continue back, if let's say for most of the students, I believe that if they are offered from the same place where they did perform the industrial attachment, they usually will accept because of maybe they already know the environment. So what do you think about this?
Professor Shahrel, you're absolutely right. I would say that probably 60% or 50% of the candidate that we hire, uh, the fresh graduate that we hire, they are most likely they are done internship with us. So it's very, there are times that straight away we will know, this guy, yeah, just go and grab him. And there are times that, they continue, as they're finishing off their internship, they will just, after about few months break, they will come back and join as an engineer, a fresh junior engineer in our factory. So that happens as well.
Okay, so it means that for those students who are still at the level of maybe third year or final year next semester, then during your internship, then please go and find those industries or companies that may be of your interest. So you might be joining the same company after graduation. That would be advantageous, right?
That's right. Let me reiterate this, and let
Okay.
me emphasize that during the internship, the person should do a good job. Okay, there are times that we ran into some very minimum, not much, uh, some issues, attendance issues with the person who's doing the internship. So we will remember all this, because HR will have a record of all these things.
Okay. All right. For the graduates outside there, please take note of this. Okay, not graduates actually, because of for those who are still in the third year of, or you perform the best that you could. So then you will be sort of like, I can say, you will be booked earlier by the industry. So this will be good because of you will know the working style, the working environment, and you know people. So you immediately when you join, then you are somebody to the community already within that factory. So that this will be good. All right. So, all right. I will go to my maybe a few more questions that I think very important for students. It is I just want to talk about preparing a candidate to the interview. So you did mention that during the interview there will be like 5 elements we'll be looking at. So in terms of preparing themselves, what are like maybe the appearance, maybe soft skills, what are the other things that you would advise them to be prepared for the interview before coming to the interview basically?
Well, before coming for interview, you know, you probably want to do a little bit, my guidance to you, the fresh graduates, do a little bit of background check on the company that is trying to hire you, because they want to know what's your, how inquisitive are you, what is your, how curious are you, whether you had done your research and all that. That shows your attitude, number one. Number two is skill yourself as much as possible, okay, and tool yourself, go outside that what is being taught in the university. Go, pick up another language, pick up a programming skill, or pick up software. If you know, we use in factory, the entire factory revolves on Excel spreadsheet. uh, we create everything from Excel spreadsheet. We all our reports are generated with macros and pivot tables, and all that analysis that is being done. It's all Excel. So I would say probably 98% or 98% of the times we will always use Excel to do our work. So be very good at Excel, because it's going to save you a lot. If you know Excel very well, you can shorten your work. Be very proficient in Excel. Okay.
Okay. All right. So I just want to add in because of when we work, we must have certain tools to be used together with the skill that we have. Because of, after all, we need to report what we have done. So this is maybe like very important tools that you need to learn before joining the industry. So just make sure that you don't only know how to use the functions of Excel, but to the level of if you can use maybe VBA to generate the report, then that would be great because that would be advantageous to you as well. So you can appeal this, I believe, during the interview.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely, absolutely right.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I have another question coming from the audience that the employers of today are looking for in their future employees. What kind of traits or skills that the employees of today are looking for in their future employees?
That's a very good question. Okay. I believe that I probably spoke a little bit about that. If you ask me, for a fresh graduate, we will always look for whether the person has, number one, leadership traits. Number two, whether the person has the ability to work in a group. That means teamwork. Okay. This is a very vital skill. We had seen some people, they are just individual, uh, contributors. They cannot work in a team, but as an individual, they can be very strong. So that kind of people, yes, we do have them, but not many of them. But most of the people that we expect them to work in a teamwork. So you must know how to work in a teamwork. I mean, in a team. It's not about you; it's about everybody else. In fact, teamwork is going to be a key thing in our kind of organization. So much so we emphasize teamwork so much until we design our profit sharing based on plant performance as one of the major criteria. Individual contribution is also another multiplier, but the main big multiplier is how well the entire plant did. That means as a team, how well did we do? Okay, so that's the second one, teamwork. And the third one is we want to look at dynamics. We want to see, your energy level. We want to see your passion, enthusiasm. These are the list of things that is important to us. And remember, every task that is being assigned has a time element in it, because time is, we all probably know, timeline is something very imperative in any industry. As I mentioned earlier, every hour lost is lost in money. Okay. So these are the main three things that you should tool yourself before you get into any job in manufacturing industry.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Pari, for that answers. Most probably the audience will take this as the three items and try to improve on this. Okay, so I have another question. Should potential candidates also ask the taboo question of salary during an interview? Okay,
it's not a crime. That's not a big problem, because if you're a fresh graduate, we have a fixed scale in this industry. Almost all the manufacturing factories, all the MNC, we pay almost the same salary for the fresh graduates. So you can ask, we can tell you, but to start off, it's not going to make a lot of change. Okay.
It'll be only the how do I say, the fresh graduates salary will be almost the same to MNCs industries.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
All right.
But within a year, because in a private sector, what is good is we have review in every 6 months. So if you're very good, every 6 months you get a review. That means you get a pay increase. Okay.
Right.
So that's if you work well, you perform, you're delivering result, every 6 months you have a chance of increasing your salary. Yeah.
Right. So that's
a plus point. That's right.
So the opportunity of getting an increment within 6 months if you perform, and I hope that this will motivate the graduates to consider. Okay, especially MNCs, because of I think the salary for graduates usually almost the same, but again, there are a lot of things that you need to consider before applying to or sending your resumes to industry. Okay. All right, I go for the next question. How do candidates answer the age-old question of why do you want to work here during an interview successfully?
Well,
yeah.
why do you want to work here? I'm not sure whether I asked that question. I don't think so. I asked that question, but I know that we will get a very diplomatic answer or a political answer. Well, basically, in my opinion, when an interviewer asks you that question, they just want to see how well you speak. That's about it. Yeah. I know that it's going to be, everything is going to be rosy. I like this factory. I heard about this. You guys do this. It's a standard answer we're going to get. So, but we just want to know how you speak. So it's a tricky question, actually. Don't worry about that. Just speak well.
All right. Okay, that is most important. More important than giving the direct answers, right?
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So that will be the questions coming from the audience. I'll continue with my questions. So sure. I believe that once we have heard so many things coming from you, people from industry, with your post, with your experience. Now I think that I would like to know maybe to get your advice for fresh graduates. what are things that they need to prepare for future career? What is your advice to them?
Future career, okay. I think I mentioned some of it already. As I mentioned, try to expose yourself on in your number one. Choose your correct degree. Okay. Now, when you if you're a graduate who or soon to be a graduate, you're getting into the university soon. You may want to choose your career path correctly or the courses correctly. Now look at what are the jobs that is going to eventually get eliminated by or replaced with computers and um, uh, supercomputers, artificial intelligence, and all that, right? Go look at that, and then at the same time, while the new technology is going to kill some of or eliminate some of these jobs, it's also going to create some of the other new jobs. Now, the new jobs are like automation, okay, automation, IR 5.0, 4.0. Um, let's look at probably big data analysis, okay, and then analytics. It's going to be a lot of analytics. Um, how do you do machine programming? So the machine programming that we do today, in my view, they are very more complex, but it's already the language has been already simplified. So if you're still learning Fortran or progress or C or C class, that may not do well because those are all difficult, old, tribal machine language. Now, what we need to do is we need to learn the newer ones. Um, that one is very key. Expose that is on choosing the right degree. Now, in terms of skills, go learn programming. If you have a technical degree, go learn programming because everything that we're going to do in the future, it's going to have some level of programming. Computer knowledge, learn how to do troubleshooting. How do you troubleshoot a problem, or how do you enhance a process? Another key thing is software. Software, a lot of things are being replaced. A lot of hardwares are now being replaced with software. So as you can see, those days, we have this dial phones, right? And today we don't have these dial phones. It's all digital phones, with software loaded inside there. It's all connected to internet ports. No more with the telephone line. So a lot of things has migrated. Software is going to replace a lot of hardware. That is going to be the key thing. So as software replacing hardware, it will become much more simpler. Look at how powerful is your iPhone today. It is so powerful because the software is powerful, not so much on the hardware. Okay, so number one is the right degree that you choose. Number two is skill yourself or tool yourself with the right skills, and the third one will be expose yourself in in project management. Okay, during your university time itself, go and become a president or a chairman for something, or a society, because project management will expose you in various aspects. Number one, leadership. It will expose you on teamwork. How do you work in a team? Timeliness, meaning how do you work on a project with the timeline and budget within the budget and timeline. And the fourth one will be yeah, pretty much that's it. The 3-4 aspect of exposing yourself in project management. Okay, that's very key. So when you put all this in your resume will become very powerful. It'll have content. So to speak. We call it. There's a lot of meat in it. Not just vegetables, but just there's a lot of meat content in it as well.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for that answer.
Okay.
We have another. I think we have another about 10 minutes to go. I have one question. Okay. From the audience. The question says, is higher having CGPA more important than being active in core curriculum?
I'll tell you a secret to all today. I'm willing to reveal the secret. Now, we pretty much don't hire somebody with a very high CGPA. I can tell you now. You know why? Because factory, being an engineer in a factory, it relatively, as I mentioned, it's not so much of how good are you in your chemistry, physics, and mechanics. It's about how do you apply them. So how do you put them what you have learned um, in chemistry, physics, and mechanics into perspective. Now, as I mentioned, you have to solve problem on the fly, because when the line is down, it's a loss of revenue. So what we had seen is, and it's very demanding, right? So what we had seen is somebody with a very high CGPA, typically they will work for a while and then they will find something else somewhere else, and then they will leave us. So I'll tell you a secret. Most of the time, I like to hire somebody with the average um, CGPA, but with a very high level of energy, or the person is very active in co-curriculum activities, being a president or being a chairman, and organize staffs and that kind of thing. So that are the traits that we are looking for in hiring in factory environment.
All right.
So I'm not sure whether it's a good news or bad news for the person who asked the question.
Well, I think that would be good news, because of scorer will be scorer.
Exactly.
Look the distribution, there'll be like 2.8 and above, 2.5, even 3.0. So we have more within this range rather than
That's right.
4.0 and 3.9.
That's right.
Okay, I think that'd be great news to us.
If you have 3.8, 3.9, 4.0, please go work for Tesla, go work for SpaceX, go apply. I think most likely they are now hiring. You probably will get you stand a good chance of getting hired there. But what we are looking for is 3.3 to 3.5 is good enough for factory environment.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. I just want to add in what Mr. Pari had mentioned just now. If you think that you have scored a 4.0, 3.9 in engineering courses, you can actually, if you're graduated from USM, UKM, all these universities who are being accredited by Board of Engineers Malaysia. So
I'm sorry, I lost you for a while.
All right. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I was saying, like, if you scored 4.0, 3.9 coming from engineering schools or faculties, and the faculty or the university has been accredited by Board of Engineers Malaysia, so the degree is basically qualify you to apply jobs in Japan, in the Europe, or even in the US if you want to apply for Tesla. Because of we are categorized under this Washington Accord, which means that the degree is recognized worldwide. Yes. So you have that option as well. And just to share, I have, like, my master students work with Apple in the US, in Los Angeles. So one of fingerprints. So he is one of the engineers doing that on Apple iPhone. Right, just to share with you also.
Right.
Today, I believe that Mr. Pari had shared a lot of information to make sure that you are really prepared for the future career, not being in Malaysia, but I think in worldwide. Because I just like what being shared by Mr. Pari, which are the communication skills. You must have passions, the problem solving ability, and the potential growth when you are interviewed, as well as to show whether you are looking at long term working with that industry or not. So these are, I mean, very important because of through my experience as well when I was in the industry. So these are most of the things that we will consider when we interview the candidates. And I believe that Mr. Pari, thank you very much because of we have reached for almost 4:25 now. So I believe that you have shared very valuable informations with us, especially the students. Things that being shared today. And at the end of this our discussion today, I really like that the CGPA, right? So you don't have to worry about that, but you have to show that you can do things and have certain attitudes that industries are looking at. So if you have all this, you can try your luck and apply to any industries. But please, of course, industries will start evaluating CGPA. But I believe that they will not put 4.0, 3.9, right? So for engineering background, there will be like maybe more than 2.5 or 3.0. So if you can score within this range, of course, we are aiming at better CGPA, but there are some other elements that you need to, how to say, to grab to yourself, which are the elements that being discussed today, right? So in order for you to prepare for the future career. So with this, I think if we still have questions.
What do I think? Well, I'm glad the person can would be able to make that decision, early in his the person's whole he or she their career, um, because if you find that what you're doing is not right after about probably 5 years, then it's going to be a big problem. Then you have to go somewhere else. You have to start over, which is not a good thing. Okay, so 2 years, within 2 years, if you want to make a switch, yeah, you can just go and make a switch. But I can tell you this: once you have a technical degree, when you move to a non-technical degree, you would do very well because you have the technical degree would have equipped you with the with the with the analytic mind, meaning if you had done chemistry, physics, mechanics, that is something, um, it's a base for a lot of non-technical things as well. So that's my view.
Okay, so for the viewers just now who couldn't hear my
We can't hear you,
question,
Jay.
so the question was, what is
Jay?
your
We can't
advice
hear
for
you.
students who
Probably he's
are
on mute.
having,
Okay.
oh, sorry.
Jade, we can't hear you.
Okay, really sorry. Okay,
Okay.
so what is your,
Okay.
so just now for those who have been asking or cannot hear the question, so the question just now that I have actually thrown to the floor was, what is your advice to for students who are having second thoughts after working in the field and they feel like they want to change their career after 2 years from science to arts? What do you think? So that's what actually Mr. Pari has actually explained very well to the audience as well, who have actually asked through our Facebook Live.
All right. So I think we come to the end of this session. Uh, all right. So I would take this opportunity again to thank Mr. Fari for your contributions, for your advice, for your information, for your knowledge and everything during this sharing session in Create Talk. I believe that a lot of us will be beneficial from the information given by you. And I hope that for those who have joined this session, hopefully you can use whatever tips and advices being given by Mr. Pari in your application or in your job seeking activities, and with the hope that you can I think if Mr. Pari, if you want to say anything, maybe your last message to our audience.
Well, again, I'm glad to be given this opportunity. Being as USM alumni myself, I'm glad that I'm able to contribute at any time. If any other information is needed, I can share my contacts, and anyone can contact me. I'll be happy to contribute to my best knowledge. And to the fresh graduates out there who's going to come out soon, well, as I mentioned, you have the tips, and I think Professor Shahrel had given a lot of added information as well. And use that, equip yourself, tool yourself to be going into your next phase of your life. And with that, that's all. Thank you very much, and thank you very much, Mr. Shahrel and Jit, for hosting this event. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Pari. Thank you, Jade. And with this, I will end up this session from our side, and I transfer back the session to Jade. Thank you. Jade, we cannot hear you.
All right. All right. Thank you so much to Mr. Pari, also from Shahril, for being our honorable guest and also honorable moderator for our career create talk. I will say that in a way, so which will actually benefit a lot of graduates who are thinking, what are they going to do after they graduate, and what uh, probably they can actually take some steps to actually research about it. What is the latest industry needs in what they call after graduate. So with that, I guess there's without any ado, I think I would like to thank Mr. Pari and Prof. Shahril once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.